Hello. Hello, Adenike. I'm so thrilled and very honored to be able to talk to you today. We are in the context of the Global Forum on Democratizing Work, and we're very excited to be able to exchange views with you because you are one of the leading figure of Fridays for Future in Africa. You are, as you call yourself, an eco-feminist, and we'll certainly discuss more about that. You are talking to me from Nigeria, and you're very young, you're 26. And I must say, to introduce you to our audience here, that you studied agricultural economics, and I believe during those studies you realized that climate change was affecting Africa in a disproportionate manner, and Nigeria in particular. So you got involved in the restoration of Lake Chad, but you also got involved in activism to raise awareness about climate change. In 2019, you became the recipient of the Ambassador of Conscience Award from Amnesty International Nigeria. And that is the year you attended your first UN climate conference. This year, you're going to attend another UN climate conference, the one that is going to take place in November in Glasgow. And hopefully, there will be some good news coming from that conference, because it feels like the urgency of the time is great. And so we wanted to talk to you because we wanted to have an exchange about what in the Democratizing Work manifesto resonates more with your view. What are the themes that connect more deeply with what concerns you?
I'm talking about democracy, that I have been advocating for a green democracy, because a democracy that has no environment or environmental right attached to it will definitely break down or become more fragile and can lead to war. So I agree with the manifesto that talks about the planet when it comes to democratizing our work, because the planet houses human, the environment at the same time. And if the planet is in danger, definitely everything therein is also in danger. So democracy should cut across all aspects of our works, which will make it to become, which will make our system to be just and have zero racism in it. At the same time, talking about the second principle, which has to do with the commodified. And what resonates with me there is that a job guaranteed will not only offer each person access to work that allows more to live with dignity. Working with dignity is the best that can happen. Because I used to say that the greatest or single threat to our peace and security is the loss of livelihoods, which in recent time, climate change has been an exhibitor or exhibitor of loss of livelihoods through food insecurity, armed conflict, and different kind of crises that is happening that are induced by climate change. So therefore, people lose their livelihood a lot because they're already displaced. And in the process, making our society to become more vulnerable, insecure, and full of people that are displaced, looking for work, leading to more harms, more crimes in our society. So if we could commodified, I mean, therefore we will be able to have a dignified work. We will not be unemployed. Everybody can has a work of his choice, go for his own work with all what you have, because today many people are doing work that are not what they want to do. But due to the fact that they don't have any option because they have to live, they have to feed their families, they have to do several things for themselves and for the world. So they just have to opt in for the work. But if our society today is decommodified, then definitely it's going to help the standard of living, to help our economy. It will reduce racism. There will be nobody that will be afraid of picking a work in your country or in another one person's country. And the next one is remediate, which talks about that a successful transition from environmental destruction to environmental recovery and regeneration will be the best led by democratically governed firms, in which the voice of those who invest their labor carry the same weight as those who invest their capital when it comes to strategic decision. And that is a very good one for me, because I say the fact that a democratically governed firm is going to be able to manage a staff. You know, it will be able to reduce different vulnerability, because you now know that everyone has a right to have a secured future, to work in a better place, to be able to help our planet to become more safer, you know. So you will be conscious of what is happening around you, how to be impacted by the climate change crisis or any environmental hazard or degradation. So this three principle that talks about remediate, decarbonize, democratize and decommodified, all talks about the fact that our society has to have a just society for all, where everybody can have a work and not being unemployed, where everybody can have a right, and the environment also, we also have a right for it not to be degraded, for it to be kept intact, because of the climate change crisis have talked about the fact that our health is important to our environment health, as it has happened for that of the COVID-19, that have shown to the world that the environment has an equal voice to be heard as that of human, because what happens with our environment also goes to the human part too, because we have been intruding into our environment, and that is why it's degrading. So when every place, workplace is being democratized, then definitely it will help our society to be a better place for everyone. There will be no racism, there will be no injustice of any kind, you know. Everyone can become a better person of him or herself or to the society. Then there will be no insecurity of any kind. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then I would like to ask you what you see as the main challenges that stand in the way to fulfill these aspirations that are in the manifesto. What are the ones that, according to you and for you, given what you see in particular in Nigeria, in Africa, are the main obstacles on this way?
Okay, thank you so much. The major obstacles that could be is when we don't have the right policy framework and the structure to back it up. Because when we talk about democratizing our work, decommodify it, then remediate it and all, it has to do with us bringing the right policies on board. Bringing the right structures too, that we hit the policies, because it's possible that we have different policies, but how about the structures that will make these policies to become holistic enough for people to be able to follow the policies without cutting short or cut cornering or all of those things? So we need this right framework to get it. And also we need political will that we recognize all of this framework or all of these forum policies or ideas that we are bringing on board so that they could integrate it into their political affairs in order for it to become better. Because on a daily basis, we have to, the political framework should improve, because the world is changing, climate is changing, environment is changing, democracy is not how it used to be, you know. So it also calls for us to better our democracy, to increase our lens in democracy, to look at it from different perspectives, just as this forum is talking about work, looking at it from the gender perspective, looking at it from different kind of perspective that cut across our different walks of life, in order for it to become a better solution or a tools as a liberation, as it was for human rights, for us to see that we have rights to safe drinking water, to education. But it is not the same today, because environmental conditions have make our democracy to be fragile. So hence we are lacking safe drinking water, lack of education due to displacement and all. And so we need the right policy, the infrastructure to get those policy right, and also a political will for us to be able to push for it. You know, we don't just want leaders to keep attending forums. We want this forum to be a forum that will be a turnaround, that people will come, speak, get their idea, and go to their various political platforms to make this change to become visible, to integrate it, for us to see it, because we might involve different political leaders, but are they ready to change their behavioral pattern or their political pattern to become climate agenda, or because our political pattern is climate sensitive, you know. So else is affecting the entire population if we are not able to integrate climate action in political deliveries or political pattern. So we have to tell them to their face that they have to integrate all of these things. This forum should not just be a forum where they just come and talk and go. They should be able to integrate one or two or many of these ideas that we are bringing on board, so that we don't just come and keep marking time, but nothing is being done, because we have done more than hundreds or thousands or even a million of forums on climate change. But what has been done so far, you know? So we have to checkmate ourselves. I want this forum to be a forum where things will turn around, where these leaders will be able to integrate our different ideas to their political pattern.
Thank you so much. And could you speak to the particular situation of women? Because I know you are very mobilized on women's rights, on gender justice, and you know that this forum is led by women. And so it would be great that you would speak to the challenges, the specific challenges that concern women, and saying that I believe that they also concern men, because it's only by working together and respecting each other that things will go and move into a better direction for women. But what are, in your views, the particular challenges that affect women today vis-a-vis these big stakes that we are talking about?
Yeah, thank you so much. I wrote about integrating ecofeminism in agriculture, and also integrating the voice of our democracy into our environment. I think it's a very insightful article that I wrote about democracy, that really it's an eye opener for us to see that our democracy becomes better when we have a secure right for women and girls. And I'm so glad that this forum is being organized by women. And that is why I am so happy, because it came up with the issue of democracy. Democracy is very important to us, because more than half of the world population resides in a democratic country. So solving climate action, environmental degradation, and all, if we could use democracy as a tool, it's going to become very viable, because no one action that we can use to solve the climate change crisis. It has to be multi-dimensional, and including women and girls are trying to solve environmental degradation, or including environmental rights into our democracy. It's just like improving gender equality, because women are the closest to nature. At the same time, nature wants to claim its space as women wants to claim their space. So if we integrate the voice of our environment into our democracy, definitely it's going to improve. And since women depend on nature, then definitely it's going to improve the right of women and girls. So there's a connection, a direct connection between democracy, environment, and women in our in this particular time that we are looking at the fact of the COVID-19 that happened, that have shown to us that our environment has a greater say on humanity, because it could tell us that we can't come out at this particular time, and a lot of things that it could dictate with us today. So it has to do with us using the democracy that we have used to liberate humanity or human rights, to see that we have rights to safe drinking water, to education, to different things. At the same time, the environment needs same, because we have been seeing a lot of lapses that due to environmental degradation, my people in Niger Delta have been affected. They don't have safe drinking water and they can't farm their land. You know, it's become a very big burden. And the women are the ones facing this crisis, because they will have to go to distance, even though it means them trekking kilometers for them to be able to get safe drinking water for their family. They will also have to trek distance for them to be able to see that they could get cooking materials for their family in order for them to be stabilized. All of this time that they use, or the time constraint, affects their contribution towards environmental protection or economic gain, or even some, they could even drop out of school because they need to stabilize their family, affecting their right to education. So if we could have a democracy, of which I call a green democracy, then definitely the right of women and girls to become safe wherever they are, because they now have a democracy that includes environmental rights. And that is why I said environmental rights are women's rights, and women's rights are environmental rights. These are issues that made me to become an eco-feminist, because I am a human. I want to become a change maker. At the same time, I want other girls that will become women of tomorrow to also become change makers as I am, to be able to influence decision. Imagine if we could have many more women like me, or like other women making changes in our world. You know, it will make this world a better place. But today we are seeing girls becoming child marriage just as a survival strategy. So we need a democracy that will include the voice of our environment, which will invariably make gender equality to be increased, you know, to be stable, to be attainable by all. And that is why I'm so happy that this forum is recognizing democracy, because women are the organizers.
Thank you very much. Then a last question to you would be about the practical prospects, the actionable, concrete opportunities that maybe you are seeing around you through your work, through your activism, through your network also in Nigeria, in Africa, and more globally. What are the opportunities that you see that would help advance the principles of the manifesto? This is a question also to help orient us and all the participants in the forum to maybe pay attention to things, experimentations, actions that are going on today that are not necessarily under everyone's radar, but that might bring hope, optimism at least, that indeed things are change is on the way and is possible to achieve if people push into the right direction.
Yeah, sure. Change is possible. It's possible because I'm saying the fact that we have many more women in the fight for climate change justice. And when we have majority of women in the fight for something, they are ready to fight it to the end until when we all win. So it's something that makes me happy that women are taking the lead, just as this forum is being organized by women that wants to see a better part of their society in another dimension of democracy. And I am the founder of Highlight Climate. And one of those lenses that we are using as our aim is to use a green democracy lens, just as what I've been fighting for the restoration of Lake Chad, that I made a connection of the fact that the instability in the Lake Chad region is affecting or making the democracy in the surrounding countries to become fragile, because every day people are being displaced, leading to refugee crisis. And those people that are displaced, 2/3 of them are women. So it's a very, very important thing that we have to look at democracy in that view. And that is why I keep advocating that we need to restore Lake Chad as one of those steps in strengthening our democracy in this region, or else it's going to affect our diversity, which can lead to war, because we have different religion, different culture. So it's making our culture to be fragile, and climate change can lead to ethno-religious war, like in a country like mine, where we have different religion, different society, and it's also applicable to different nations that have different cultures and religion, because it's leading to fights between the farmers and herdsmen. It's now becoming a control of resources issue. So if we could restore Lake Chad, it's one step towards making that place a better place, or stabilizing the region. And also looking at the fact of the Great Green Wall Initiative that cut across many African countries because of the loss of our vegetative cover. It's also a very important form that we can use as a democratic tools, in bridging, in trying to restore our lost forest cover. Through that means many people will find their livelihoods in any economic tree that is being planted. Different things that can come forth from a vegetative region. It could help to boost their livelihoods, sustain their livelihoods, and different things without being distorted. So different things that we can apply in our society, looking at our perspective from our view, that these are the things, but not limited to this, that we need currently in order to make our democracy to be stable, because climate change is the only single threat to our democracy, because it's already leading to massive loss of livelihoods. Imagine farmers' displacement. It's a very big threat to our food systems. And hence, we are also seeing the increase in food price, and definitely it's going to affect nutrition, because there will be reduction in quantity and quality. So all of these things is a very viable tools to talk about democracy in this context, in Africa, in Europe, in Asia, in different parts of the world, to see how we can use these tools again to better our environment, in order for us to have a balanced ecosystem, whereby the democracy is not just one-sided, it is two-sided. As it involves human, it also involves the environment. And that way we could have a stable ecosystem where everyone respects each or our own rights, in order for it to become a safer place. And that is why I won't keep silent in advocating for the restoration of Lake Chad as a very important tool that we can use. Because over time, why I became an eco-feminist is when I saw the issue of the Chibok schoolgirls. These are the girls that we adopted in Borno State in Nigeria. These are girls that should be change makers, policy makers, technicians, you know, doctors, different places. But to some extent, to some of these girls, it might be a point of no return to them because some of them are still in their custody. So it's really something that we need to keep pushing for a secure society where everyone will not be vulnerable and nobody will also be vulnerable to the impact of climate change, and it will not lead to a broken democracy.
Thank you so much, Adenike. Thank you so much. We are really getting to the close of our talk today, but thank you for having brought us to these connections between so from a reflection about work and the stakes around work, you brought us to thinking about democracy in general as a project for the entire society and how it involves the environment and the place we have to make for the planet in that project. And I think knowing about these restoration projects that you are leading and you are pushing, sustaining, advocating for around Lake Chad and the forest around in the bigger region, that is really, that brings hope indeed. That is very inspiring. So thank you so much for making the time for us to discuss in the context of the Global Forum. And hopefully we'll have other occasions to dig more into these issues and the deep connection between work and the planet, in particular in the African context. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much too. I'm really glad to have spoken my view to this important forum, that our work is being shaped by our society, and that is why we need the society to have a form of democracy so that our workplace will not be affected, because work is very important. You know, when there's a safer work, when there's work for you to choose, you know, it becomes a very safe world where people can even think of being innovative, of trying to find means at which we can all be at peace and not at war with our environment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we'll continue this exciting forum and we'll stay in touch to have other conversations. Thank you so much, and take care and good luck with everything you're doing. And for the participants in the forum, I can also suggest that you follow Adenike via her Twitter feed. She posts lots of reporting from the ground. She shares her thoughts, and that is really a great way to follow the amazing work that she's doing. So log on Twitter and you will find her. Thank you so much, Adenike.